You know, when Fox starts getting up Donald Trump's ass about being anti-Semitic, you know something is up. And even one of Donald's darling surrogates, Katrina Pierson, couldn't handle the fire coming across from Julie Roginsky. How the hell are you going to tell a Jew that something is not anti-Semitic when they consider something anti-Semitic, and explain to you why? And you still refuse to accept their explanation as to why they believe that something's anti-Semitic. But give it to Katrina. You know, she's going to do her damnedest. Here's the video.
Tonight, while most of the political world is focused on what the FBI found regarding Hillary Clinton's emails, Donald Trump is having to deal with some new fallout tonight over this tweet, hitting Hillary for being corrupt. Almost immediately after it went out on Saturday, some outraged critics suggested that it depicts a Star of David and that its message is anti-Semitic. In a moment, Trump campaign spokesperson Katrina Pierson and Democratic strategist Julie Roginsky are here on that. But first, Fox News correspondent Peter Doocy has the latest. Peter?
Megan, the debate boils down to whether or not you think a six-sided star looks more like a Star of David or a sheriff's badge. This weekend, it all started when the verified @RealDonaldTrump Twitter account posted the image on the left with text calling Hillary Clinton the most corrupt candidate ever printed on that star. Once social media users started criticizing the post, saying it looked like a Star of David, it was taken down, then reposted with a circle in place of the star. The Clinton campaign called this both anti-Semitic and part of a pattern, but Trump says the shape at the center of the controversy was not a symbol of the Jewish faith, instead a symbol of law enforcement, a badge. And his social media director, Dan Scavino, now tells us that, quote, the social media graphic used this weekend was not created by the campaign, nor was it sourced from an anti-Semitic site. It was lifted from an anti-Hillary Twitter user where countless images appear.
All right, and that anti-Hillary person is a frequent viewer and visitor to white supremacist websites. So that's no answer.
Badge, which is available under Microsoft's Shapes, fit with the theme of corrupt Hillary, and that is why I selected it. Trump himself now also accusing Hillary Clinton of using this to try to change the subject away from her emails. He says Clinton, through her surrogates, is just trying to divert attention from the dishonest behavior of herself and her husband. And it is worth pointing out that Trump's own daughter, Ivanka, is Jewish. She converted a few years ago when she married Jared Kushner, and Jared Kushner is now a major behind-the-scenes player at his father-in-law's campaign. Megan.
Now, I didn't know that the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which is as Jewish as it gets, I didn't know that they were Clinton surrogates. But, you know, anything's possible, but that's a bunch of crap. But anyway, the ADL, they were the first major organization that jumped on this thing on Saturday. And I'm going to go back to my original fallback position. If it wasn't a Jewish star, why did they take it down? Trump does not back down from anybody when he's pushed. But apparently that push got him to take down that original tweet and then repost it with a circle instead of a Jewish star.
Peter, thank you. And says he's never known his father-in-law to be in any way anti-Semitic. Joining me now to respond, Katrina Pierson and Julie Roginsky. Julie, can you explain what is it about the tweet that is anti-Semitic? Like, what is it? How, you know, is it just the use of the Star of David?
On top of a pile of money. I mean, I think if you're Jewish, your tentacles are so incredibly raised by this, because this is a source, as he said, from an anti-Semitic tweeter. I mean, this is somebody who's tweeting this stuff, who's had a history of anti-Semitism. But more importantly than that, you've got people from David Duke to now Paul Ryan saying this is an anti-Semitic image. Clearly, the message is very obvious to people who understand this, and the history of this is so repugnant, because if you know anything about 20th century anti-Semitism, this is the kind of imagery that was used consistently in 1900s Russia, in 1930s Germany, so on and so forth. And Donald Trump has a history of this. It's not just this tweet. It's the fact that when he was asked to refute all the horrible anti-Semitic things that somebody was saying about, people were saying about a reporter that wrote an unflattering story about his wife, he said, quote, "I don't have a message for my fans." When they were saying the most vile, atrocious anti-Semitic thing to her. When the Anti-Defamation League asked him to stop using the phrase America first because it has horrible connotations for American Jews going back to the 1930s, he refused to do that. You know, where there's smoke, there's fire. This is consistently a dog whistle, and I would venture to say not even a dog whistle, but a very overt message to the vilest, basest, white supremacist anti-Semites in this country. And there's no excuse for it.
Okay, first you'd have to really suspend all logic and reason to just say that this was obviously anti-Semitic, because it wasn't. The intent was definitely not there, which is why you saw the image that was changed. But really, I'm struck by Hillary Clinton's response, calling this particular image anti-Semitic, considering her hometown in Chicago, Illinois, Barack Obama's hometown. Cook County has a 6-point star yellow badge. So why is this all of a sudden anti-Semitic?
Because you throw it on top of money. And you throw it on top,
Yes.
and you source it, Katrina, with
corruption.
No, excuse me, Katrina. You source it from a bunch of tweeters who have a history of anti-Semitism and horrible, vile things that they say about Jews. You have consistently.
The media and the pundits are saying the source was an anti-Semitic.
Where was the source?
Someone else used it on an anti-Semitic website.
And you
this
retweeted it?
This came from a
Should
Twitter account.
he stop it? You heard the speaker say somebody's got to get control of Trump's social media because he continues to get himself in trouble on the Twitter.
Well, look, the speaker can say whatever he wants. This idea that this was somehow anti-Semitic is false. Period. Yes, it was
Will
a
there be any
6-point star.
changes to who controls the social media?
Well, I don't know. You have to ask Mr. Trump that if he decides to
Did
make
Trump
changes.
retweet that, or was it another?
No, this was Dan Scavino, who already came out and said there was no intent here. Dan Scavino is married to a Jewish woman.
No, that whole concept of Dan Scavino is married to a Jewish woman, Ivanka Trump is Jewish, that's the last refuge of anti-Semites and racists. And some of my best
this
friends
is
are
a
black.
defense.
Some of my
It's a
best friends
defense.
are Jewish. Give me a break.
It's a defense.
There is a consistent pattern here with Donald Trump. This is not a partisan thing.
I have to ask you before we go.
Yeah.
Do we have time for the soundbite? I want to hear the Donald Trump soundbite on Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, okay. Before we hit that, Katrina wasn't on her game on this one because Julie basically just kicked her ass, and especially when they hit that fallback. My daughter is Jewish. She converted. My son-in-law is Jewish. Therefore, I can't be a racist. I can't be an anti-Semite. That is the biggest load of bullshit that you ever want to hear. All right, anyway, let's finish up with Trump making another ridiculous statement.
Watch.
Saddam Hussein was a bad guy, right? He was a bad guy, really bad guy. But you know what he did well? He killed terrorists. He did that so good. They didn't read him the rights. They didn't talk. They were a terrorist. It was over. Today, Iraq is Harvard for terrorism. You want to be a terrorist, you go to Iraq. It's like Harvard. Okay?
So Saddam Hussein, he killed and buried in mass graves about 300,000 people. And the rub on this, Katrina, is he should not be citing Saddam Hussein in any positive way, even if it's to kill terrorists.
Well, the idea is the destabilization of the Middle East, and the simple fact that we have terrorism running rampant today. This last 2 weeks is quite obvious that we have a serious problem here, and Hillary Clinton was a part of that.
But his
yes,
critics are
Saddam
saying
Hussein has done
don't cite him in any way. Like when you gas your own people, you don't get to wind up in the mouth of a U.S. presidential
This is why it matters, because we're going to continue doing illegal things, going into sovereign nations, overthrowing governments, allowing terrorism to flourish if Hillary Clinton becomes president. That's why it's important.
Quickly.
Donald Trump wanted to go in and quote-unquote take Iraq's oil. How is he going to do that? Go into a sovereign nation? Listen, Saddam Hussein went and rained Scud missiles upon Tel Aviv. There were plenty of Jews in Tel Aviv who suffered the terrorism of Saddam Hussein.
He says if you're going to go in, get something out of it.
This is not a good day for Donald Trump and the Jewish community. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Katrina didn't get it when Megan told her, you don't mention Saddam Hussein. She was trying to give her a break, and this woman, Katrina Pierson, who everybody claims is brilliant, she missed the boat twice today.